All right, so continue with Friday night thoughts. The scene is Stillwater, Oklahoma. Coming in is the big bad purple guys from Manhattan, Kansas that put a 48 to nothing beat down on the Cowboys last year. Spencer Sanders is gone. Will Howard remains. Last year, Will Howard went for 296 and 4 touchdowns against Oklahoma State in that game. That had me looking like a fool because I thought Oklahoma State was going to win. And of course, Kansas State rode that momentum all the way to the Big 12 championship. Chris Kleiman is 1-3 in his career against Mike Gundy. And of course, that was last year's victory. So Mike Gundy's in a spot this year where Oklahoma State has started slow. They got worked at home by South Alabama. They just took their bye week, but they're coming off a loss to Iowa State, where Alex Bowman finally became the starting quarterback, where before Oklahoma State came into the season playing 3 quarterbacks. The old adage is if you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't have one. So what do you have if you have 3 quarterbacks? Wow. Is that just negative quarterback? I don't even know what you call that. But anyway, against Iowa State, 23 of 48, 278, 2 touchdowns, and 2 picks. But on the other hand, Ollie Gordon broke out. 18 carries, 121 yards in that game against Iowa State. Before that, he only had 109 yards on the season. So was that an outlier, or is this something that Oklahoma State can carry forward? We'll have to find out because to date, Kansas State's defense only gives up 2.5 yards per carry. Now, conversely, they have DJ Giddens running the ball, against UCF in their last game before the bye week. 30 carries, 207 yards, 4 touchdowns. And then, oh, by the way, when he wasn't running the ball, 8 catches for 86 yards. But let's not forget, Kansas State gave up 31 points in that game without Rice Plumlee playing for UCF because Kansas State is 102nd against the pass. So if you're a new quarterback breaking in, this is the type of team that you want to play against. So can they take advantage of play action to set up the run? So usually a lot of teams like to start off with the run to open up the passing game. Maybe Oklahoma State needs to come out with some bubbles, some short slants, some things like that to get the defense to come up and then be able to just push off and get some rushing yards. They might have to hold on to the ball to keep Kansas State's offense off of the field because Kansas State is going to run the clock, 198.5 yards per game on the ground. So can Oklahoma State rise up to the challenge? I think they can because tomorrow's the blackout. They're coming off a bye. Mike Gundy, former college quarterback, had an extra week to kind of scheme some things open for these receivers. So I think Oklahoma State is going to give Kansas State a match. Do I think they're good enough or they can win? No. I don't think that Oklahoma State is going to win this game. But Kansas State, like I said, the key is to keep the ball out of their hands. So not only the rushing yards that I brought up, but they're 10th in plays run per game as well, Kansas State is. So Oklahoma State has a tall task on their hands. Kendall Daniels is a standout on defense, the Big 12 freshman of the year, and he's the leading tackler. So Bowman's going to have to make sure he knows where that safety is, before he puts the ball up. He threw the 2 picks against Iowa State. So we'll have to see if he can come off of that. So Oklahoma State playing against the 102nd pass defense, but they are 12th in the Big 12 in scoring and 13th in the 14-team Big 12 in total offense. So they're going to have to get creative. They're going to have to, which I think that Mike Gundy can do, but they're going to have to get creative, But the good news is Oklahoma State is 9th in the nation in scoring defense and 11th in total defense, or in the Big 12. I'm sorry. They're bad on both sides of the ball, but I'm doing the thing that I guess I'm accusing everybody else of doing is I'm putting faith in Mike Gundy. Like I mentioned, Kleiman is 1-3 against Oklahoma State. Then Oklahoma State has won 7 of the last 8 home games against Kansas State going back to 2003. So there may be some bad juju in Stillwater. But with Kansas State's bad defense, I expect a shootout. Last I saw the spread, it was 6.5, and I know after everything I said, the thought is lay the points with Kansas State. But I'm going to roll with the Cowboys to cover, and I'm going to roll with Kansas State to win 34-30.